Welcome back to the Prime People podcast. Today, I have my buddy, Dustin Brohm, the massive agent here again. I swear he's been on like 100 episodes, it feels like. He's one of the smartest minds when it comes to content in real estate. And I have such a depth of appreciation and love for him. This time, we're going to be talking about where the real estate world is today, where it's heading, and what's actually working in marketing today. If you watch this episode, you really get some insights into some of the biggest shifts that are happening in real estate and content right now. You'll hear what tactics are working for attention, brand, and community, and you'll leave with practical ways to stay relevant as the landscape changes. He actually shares one tip at the very end of this episode that will blow your mind and potentially get you thousands of views on your stories. Let's go. What's new in your world? Like, I know you got in the right seat and you feel super happy with where you're at right now too. But like, so you're running your coaching business. You obviously probably have a large team now as well too. And then the podcast, are those like the three main pillars?
Yeah, basically. I mean, so if I were to oversimplify how I'm doing things these days, I'm just trying to get as many people to hear me and see me as possible. Mm-hmm. And as long as I'm putting out stuff that is going to help somebody or help them figure out something, give them a tip that they can implement, then those impressions are a positive thing and they'll help lift the brand overall. So yeah, the podcast, social media is where I spend the majority of my time. Well, it's where I spend a bulk of my time. Then honestly, I'm on Zoom calls most of the time, just supporting the agents inside my organization. And as of this morning, I have about 925 in my group, which is bonkers. It's super cool and super blessed. And
last time we chatted, I think you had come off the transfer and you were at like 300 and whatever range too. And I think, how do you manage that many people, or is it like people underneath you that are managing those people?
Yeah, there's no way that any one person can manage 900 something people, right? Or support them. So there's levels, right? So like I brought in some people, then they knew some and brought them. And so usually I'm working with those that are like closest to me.
Of course. Yeah.
And
they'll impart the wisdom to the people under them as well too, right? I'm sure.
Yeah. But then I also say, look, if you're anywhere in my world, hit me up. Like I will help you. I want to help you because we're literally business partners. It's what's so cool in real estate now. With the right company, you can be financially aligned with others who are maybe they've built a giant team and you're just about to start a team. And now you can have them as they financially benefit to help you build a team, or somebody who has marketing figured out and you're just trying to figure it out, and you can align with those people. And that's been really cool. And so because anyone in my world, like I'm literally benefiting when they succeed and when they win and when they grow. So I'm like, please hit me up. It's actually kind of stunning to me how little I hear from people. It's kind of frustrating, actually, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm here to support these people. I don't sell houses anymore on purpose because I want to, I made a choice like 5 or 6 years ago. Like, I just want to pour into the agents and help them sell the houses, help them build a business, help them get business from social. And that's more rewarding to me. And so all day long, I'm just helping agents, serving agents, whether it's the coaching, social media content, or, one-on-ones. It's just kind of frustrating how little I hear from certain people when I know that they need help.
Yeah, it's interesting when you say that. I was on another podcast earlier and we were talking about a coaching group that I'm a part of, and the guy running it is an absolute monster. And the group that we're in, there's quite a few of us that are in there, but I've gotten to ask questions 5 out of the last 6 weeks that we had the calls, because I go in there with intent and nobody puts their hands up, and it blows my mind. Like, over the years, it's so interesting how people will just sit back because they're self-deprecating, or maybe they just feel like they don't deserve to ask the question, versus others who are just in the room to actually execute, level themselves up, even on the content side. So going back a step, last time I spoke to you, you were talking about the content side. You were talking about YouTube. You were talking about TikTok. And your podcast is a monster. So like, how did you approach that shift from the podcast to what you're doing now? Because I see you everywhere. So obviously you probably have a methodology to output the content without it requiring any more work.
Well, it requires a lot of work, actually. Yeah. Like I'm spending a lot more time each day on content for sure than I did even a year ago. I have a full-time videographer now, and that's been a huge unlock for me. He's been incredible. And more than just like doing a higher quality content, which reaches more people and then, gets more people to listen to the podcast and all of it, right? The rising tide lifts all ships.
For sure.
Having a full-time videographer has helped me to actually prioritize content creation where, because it's so easy for all of us to be like, I don't have time today. This thing came up. Oh, I've got to do this thing. Oh, that crap, that email, or this person needs that intro video, or someone needs this, or that, or the other. It's so easy to be like, oh crap, I didn't post today, or I didn't even record anything, or I didn't even think about creating. And now I'm able to, like, creating is my top priority. And I let some other things fall to the back burner that maybe shouldn't, but I just, it's just become my top priority. And I think that has been a big help with, boosting my brand over the last 9 to 12 months. Like, my top priority is just getting seen on the internet, and good things happen if you semi know what you're talking about and people see you online.
Well, same thing a couple of years ago when you made an active decision to change your health, right? Your physiology. I joked before we were recording this that I put on the tightest shirt I could wear so I could look as jacked as the massive agent. But like, it started off with making a decision and then sticking to it. And over time, same on the content side, like, are you tinkering and always playing with your hooks, the structure of your video, lengths, looking at what's working? And are you in the lab actually working on the content regularly?
Most of the day, every day. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. And our good friend, Chelsea Pites.
Yes.
Something she said a long time ago, something she taught me that I think is just brilliant. And I've never forgotten it. She said, the best content creators are the best content consumers. And so a good chunk of my time is spent like just watching other people's stuff, and not just real estate stuff, but fitness influencers, like, cooks and chefs and food people, and like political content, and like, you name it, funny stuff, sports stuff. I love watching golf stuff, because when you see how other creators create stuff, you can get a little idea, like, oh, that format of the video is brilliant. I'm going to grab the idea and I'm going to do it now for my audience with a relevant message over here. Or I like that camera angle or that sound that they used or whatever. So I'm constantly learning from others. Everything that I do is inspired by someone else. I just put my own spin on it. And so
I love that. I'm grabbing my camera to film. Shout out to the homie Neil Dinga, because he always talks about setting yourself up, turning the nice cameras towards you, and I'm actually going to just record to pull some clips for later. And I found, anyways, you tell me if same with you, whether you're hiring a videographer or you're out in the wild, simplicity and what you're actually going to use with like 1 or 2 clicks without having to set up a whole bunch of junk is the best thing for any creator, right?
1000%. Dude, it takes effort and thought and intentionality to simplify things. Mm-hmm. I think it's so easy to overcomplicate. So my video guy has this incredible, like, fancy ass expensive camera, and we used to use it exclusively, but then we're like, wait a minute, the iPhone can actually, a lot of times the lighting's better just with the auto settings. So that we were just recording right before getting on here, and he didn't have his big fancy camera. He's just recording with his iPhone, and it's great. So if you don't need some big fancy setup, don't. If you don't need a studio, don't have one. Like, just do green screen videos. I love seeing like the look on an agent's face when they hear, wait, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to take forever. It doesn't have to be complicated. And it's like this big unlock for them, because I think so much of the messaging that's out there is, you've got to commit all your time to doing this. It's a big deal. And if you don't, you're going to go out of business. Like, while those things are true, you can get the same results with simplified content, with cameras, microphones. Like, something I learned from Neil, you mentioned Neil, if your phone is within arm's reach, you don't need a mic. Like, just hold it, you know? And why would you complicate it with mics and all this stuff if you don't need it? Now, I think there's a place for having that stuff, of course. Yeah. But you could do so much with what you have. It's all about the idea. It's all about the content itself, not necessarily did you buy a mic? Do you have a fancy camera? All that stuff it's an excuse to not start, is what that all is.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say it's an excuse. Like, if you go back to even our relationship back in the day with the Snapback and posting online, like, how many videos I shot stuff like in my garage with terrible lighting, and same thing with you. Like we were just throwing everything at the wall, and then you found your cadence in terms of work with the podcast, and man, you stuck to it. How many people have started podcasts and dropped off and whatever versus how consistent you've been? And I think that's why you've had the success you've had with it, right?
I think that's the only reason. I mean, I think now after almost 8 years of doing the podcast, I think I've gotten pretty good at it. You know, I think my communication skills have improved, of course, but like if I had to sum up the magic behind anything that I have today, it's I just kept doing it, and I didn't stop. I'm not the most polished speaker. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the most articulate. I'm not the most anything. I just kept going, and I was too stubborn to stop or give up. So yeah, I've been doing my podcast every Thursday morning for it'll be 8 years in January.
Congrats, man. It's been so much fun to be friends and watch you through that journey as well too. We've talked lots online, lots offline about different stuff, but it is that consistency. And even like seeing you now, when we opened up the conversation, there's this small shift that I see where you pause and you listen more intently than maybe you did previously. And these little micro adjustments that you would make, I learned from, because like I'm such an excitable guy. I used to not script at all or look or like have intention coming into these meetings. And then I learned from Chris Williamson, studying how he does his podcasts, that it's okay for me to prepare, even though we're boys. I'm like, no, I really do want to research so that I'm prepped, because I want to give value to the people listening. When I've got you for 45 minutes to sit down and be like, man, what is working online? How are you shooting your content? Like, what do you think of the real estate industry? What do you think of the real estate market? And we'll talk about all that stuff. But the magic is in the boring, mundane, small little micro adjustments you made over 8 years of consistency, right?
1,000%. And like all those first episodes, and dude, you've been doing this show forever.
A long time. Yeah.
When you go back and look at some of those older videos, like even videos that were 6 months ago, I kind of cringe a little bit. And what that tells me is like, great. That's a good thing. That means that I'm growing and improving. Because if you look back at something you did 6 months ago or a year ago, and you're like, oh yeah, that's great, it's perfect, that means you haven't grown at all. You haven't improved or grown at all. I mean, it doesn't mean that like the stuff that I did then was good, but I've since gotten better, and I would not do the same thing now just because of the constant iteration and improvement that happens when you just stay consistent with something. So that's it, man. Like when I look at the real estate industry, when I look at how many agents are struggling, I mean, there's a lot of agents thriving more than ever, but the agents that are struggling, they don't stick with anything long enough to win. If I had to oversimplify and just like, just lump it all together, like one common thread amongst agents that are not very successful and struggle, they don't stick with it long enough. And whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Like just stick with something long enough.
I'll do bus signs. I'll do podcasts. I'll do YouTube. I'll do Instagram. I'll change brokerages. It's the team leader. It's this. I need cheaper splits. It's whatever, right? You just keep going down that pathway. And it's, man, and even in our world, right, from the marketing standpoint, like the ones that really won, they picked one platform and they were absolute monsters at it, or consistently monsters at it for long enough that they found their show or they found their cadence. And then that turned into everything else. You know, you had mentioned the Prime People podcast. It's kind of the same thing. Like I'm kind of going through a season now too, where I'm like, I just like doing it because I would call you to chop it up anyways. And I'll share it with people that enjoy it and find the show through the conversations and bring on people that I've had good relationships with, where it's not like, hey, Dustin Brohm's origin story and just a very candid podcast we did a million times, because they can go watch those. Like it's really just as if they're sitting down with us, having coffee, just genuinely thinking, genuinely hearing, what does Dustin think about the way that the real estate industry is perceived by the public internally, what's working, what's not. So why don't we talk about that for a little bit? Where do you think the state of the real estate industry is as a whole from a public perception?
You know, okay, this is kind of funny to me. And I did a video, I think I posted it 2 days ago, where I was blind ranking the most hated professions. And I I had politicians at number 2 and realtors at number 1. And there were a bunch of agents that they thought that I was attacking and saying that they should be hated, but I was basing it off of just like the TikTok comment section.
Sure.
Yeah. All these dopes that are like, you just get a for sale by owner sign at Home Depot and, you don't need anything else. And I think that the real estate, I think that consumers in general probably see agents in a less than awesome light than they did 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Sure.
But the value of a great agent just keeps increasing.
Mm-hmm.
There's this separation happening where like the good agents, I'm not even talking about the great ones. The good ones, they start to separate. They start get like, they're busy. They're doing well because people know now they don't have to settle for crap. They don't have to settle for the cousin that just got their license, doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They don't have to. And all the compensation talk here in the States, with NAR and the rule changes and everything.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you would think that agents would be getting paid much less, but the stats are showing that compensation, the average realtor commission has actually gone up in the last year, which is wild. And so that
Sister Brunette doesn't care. They got paid. They're like, sorry about that.
Oh, don't get me started with them. with their 30% or 40% or whatever their take was, and they're complaining that agents with
I know
get too much.
Insane. No, I don't think you're wrong, right? Like I think with the general consumer, here's a real estate agent. My problem is it doesn't mean anything. Just like team, just like full service, none of those words mean anything because there's no standard of practice in our industry. If you take 200 agents, you're going to get 198 different experiences with how they run their businesses, how competent they are, and what it means to actually be a real estate agent. But I do think of the 100 agents that are out there, the ones that are doing business, it's still that I would say 95-5 rule where the top 5% are really leading the charge in how the business is being done. And they're being hurt by a large segment of the industry that is just chasing whatever the next hot thing is. But I think with information technology and social media, it's actually going to get easier and easier to really see the good ones from the bad ones, just because of access to information. The consumers, it used to be that the agents would set up a portal, you find your own house, you open the door, and they get paid. Now, I'm like, you have to have a value prop because they can get most of those services a la carte. So now what is your value? Is it telling them what your neighbor's house sold for, or is it actually telling them why and how that actually impacts them? It's what you said about bringing value to somebody versus just, getting them to sign a buyer agency agreement and getting paid, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. Dude, as you were talking, I had a really good thought, and it's gone now. So I'm hoping that it comes back because it was a good line of, good line that we can go down. But give me something else. I'll get back to it eventually.
Yeah. So I mean, that's consumer perception. I think the way we overcome that is information, like you said, like putting more thought into the content that we're putting out to educate people. I think that's big. But the second thing I was going to say, go ahead.
So you cannot fool AI. Right. So for so long, there's been how many agents do you see where it's hashtag top producer in their bio?
Yeah.
Best agent, favorite agent, blah, blah, blah. When I started out, when I was a brand new agent who didn't know anything, I called myself Salt Lake's favorite realtor before I had even closed the deal. And imagine how many other thousands and thousands of agents do that. So when a consumer sees that, when we are calling ourselves the best, a lot of them don't know any better. And there's oh, cool. The website looks good. The social profile looks good. They must be one of the best. So they hire them, but you can't trick ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. When you ask ChatGPT, who's the best agent, ChatGPT goes to find evidence of being the best. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, there's going to be this crazy separation now where AI is going to find evidence of who really is the best. And there's lots of different ways to define the best, of course, but you can't fool that anymore. So, unfortunately, I think agents who suck, they're going to go out of business faster than ever before.
For sure.
Agents who are good, agents that have good personalities that people like to be around, who are competent and can get the job done and know how to actually attract clients to them, I think they'll thrive more than ever before because of all these tools that exist now to be more efficient, to reach more people faster, cheaper, better. So there's this big separation happening at a lot of different levels, and AI is going to expose a lot of people, and it's going to help a lot of people to rise. So it's a wild time, man. Like, there's all these predictions about what's going to happen. I'm just sitting here as like a marketing guy and a lead gen guy, just kind of like having fun. Well, that tool will help me do more videos faster. That thing over here will save me some money. Maybe I don't need 2 VAs. I only need 1. So that's all good. And there's just far too many people that are not willing to invest their time or their money into those things. And those are the ones that unfortunately struggle.
Yeah. Well, you talk about even AI. Like, when I have conversations with people that are just won't use it in our industry, my face like drops, and I'm like, oh wow, that'd be like saying like, you know, you're a horse-drawn farmer and you don't want to figure out how a tractor works. Okay, and I'm like, we're going to take it all, and it's not because we're relying on AI. Quite the difference, right? I did a post recently that I actually got quite a few messages on, and it was a very simple education piece for people using the free version of ChatGPT or the basic version. You cannot upload an agreement of purchase and sale or anything with private information because it's going to an open ledger and you're educating the service with your client's private data. So what do you think happens if for some reason their private data shows up somewhere? You're going to get sued and they're going to pull a warrant for your account, and they're going to start looking at your search history. And then they're going to find out you inserted an inspection report, and we're trying to figure out a way on how to make it sound great and steer them over some massive problems. Oh, you're also going to jail. Right? Like, just some very basic stuff where like we've spent the last 8 months building a closed loop system on our side, not because we're steering people, not because we're uploading private information, but because I know, okay, these are the parameters of how we're going to use the tools. Here's what can help me do a lot faster. Here's what it can't do that only Justin can do because of the relationships and the experience and the context. Amazing. I can do the first 10%. It can do 80% of the heavy lifting, and I can do the last 10%. And my output is the leverage for the client, where they want somebody who's going to be able to operate at light speed using technology, not send me a copy and paste ChatGPT that 47 other agents could send me, that they may as well just do it themselves, right? And I think your point earlier is the difference is going to be a large percent of agents, in my opinion, are going to be out of business in 5 years because they have no leverage. They have no skill because they weren't willing to go out and get it. And the ones that are going to have an insane amount of leverage because they're going to be able to use the tools to accomplish what the clients want much better than the client taking 10,000 hours to learn what that agent actually has in terms of knowledge and leverage, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. And it reminds me of a conversation that I've been having with my kids lately so my son's 11, my daughter's 7, and they love ChatGPT. Like, they love the images that they can make. Like, they make the craziest stuff. But they're learning how to use it to get up to speed on a topic faster, or to get some context on something that they're interested in. And so what I was telling them is, look, the skills that the world values are changing. Mm-hmm. So it used to be like the tactician, the operator, the person who, like, you know, could actually do or build the thing, like coders and engineers, right? Learn to code, that whole thing. Was not bad advice, but now when AI will just do all the code, when AI will build the thing, when AI will implement the thing, the valuable skill there is creativity and imagination in what the prompt is. So if you are a creative person, if you are unique and you have some interesting thoughts and ideas, I think we're going into a world where people like that are going to thrive more than ever. Creatives can thrive more than ever in this new world, because if all of like the implementing the thing just gets done by AI, if you just know what to do, if you know what you want the AI to build or to do or to implement, that's where the real skills are necessary these days. So I think I'm pretty creative, so I'm kind of excited about that. But like, my son's super creative, and I'm like, look, like, you don't have to worry about this stuff, but let's lean into that creativity. Let's lean into that imagination and learn how to harness it, because, you know, the world is going to need a lot of that.
Text me after. I'm going to share with you a website that one of my coaches gave me. You can build websites and apps on it. Do you remember what your first website cost you? Like, what did you pay for your first website? Do you remember?
Dude, my first real estate website, I know that I did some WordPress thing back before I got into real estate. Sure. That was cheap. My first real estate website, dude, I think I paid $500 up front.
Yeah.
Which to me at that time may as well have been $50,000. And then it was like $150 a month or something.
Yeah. Retention. And I think I remember back when it started, there were 10, 15 grand a month. Some were 5, some were 6. My daughter,
real estate webmasters. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But it's interesting because when you mention your kids and their aptitude for technology, my daughter is the exact same. So she's like the most outdoorsy kid. She's a bookworm. She loves art. She loves everything. It's interesting. That is not what you think a kid would like, just being glued to their iPads. But her skill to use the tool is insane. She's 11. She built 2 full-blown, fully operating websites. One was based on a game that she had played that she didn't like and she wanted to change it. So she went in and told this AI website building thing all the things she didn't like. And I watched her do it, progressively changing the way it looks, the color schemes. Absolutely nuts. And it's interesting because, like you said, it really unlocks that creativity piece. And I think where AI and humans can come together is AI and technology used properly actually allows you to be more artistic and more human. I think where people are scared is they think, well, it's going to remove the human from the process. I'm like, no, there's AI song generation apps that are out there. And guess what? Now we're sitting around the dinner table laughing at some of the songs that we're creating because we're still creating the story, the art. And I think that's how people need to look at all things moving forward is it's going to be a combination of art and math, the math being the technology, the foundations, the tools, the infrastructure, and how are you setting up your world to have that. But I think the leaning into the artist side of you or me or our kids, I think the world's going to be so much more incredible because that passion is going to shine through more than I think ever before.
Yes. And I think AI is going to, there's going to be this point of overdone where people then crave original, authentic, human created stuff. Already we see it with some of these Sora videos, these Sora 2 videos. And right now it's obvious that they're Sora. Give it 6 months and probably won't be able to tell if it's Sora or not. There's a lot of videos that are like, is that AI?
Is it close? Dude, I've seen some online where I'm like, oh, that's totally AI, but you would never know unless you actually knew what to look for, right? It's scary, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so the pendulum is going to swing so far to one side where now we crave that human connection, live in-person stuff. With COVID, everyone was locked inside, everyone was stuck, and that created this huge pent-up demand to get out in the world, to meet in person, to gather together at live events and concerts and everything.
Shout out Clubhouse. That's why it popped off when it did during the pandemic, because nobody could leave their house, right?
What a phenomenon that was.
Yeah, talking about dropping the bag. Their UI was actually really good. They made every decision that was terrible rather than just listening to the users and fixing it. But yeah, it's wild.
Dude, there's agents that I know that still use Clubhouse at least 3 times a week.
I do once a week still with Glenda.
Do you?
Me, Glenda Baker, Andy C, Taylor Hack. There's some good people in there. It's 8 a.m. on Wednesday. I've had some incredible conversations with people that are in there it's just ideation, right? It's just talking about people's markets and what they're doing. And we're going through, we restructured our entire brokerage compensation plans, the vision of Prime. It's Prime 10.0 now. And a lot of that came from me going in those rooms and being like, what do you think about this? And then just listening. And then what do you think about this? Listening. It's such a cool little ecosystem, but it's the app itself, talk about not adapting to the marketplace. Now they're you go in there and they're like, pay $13.99 a month for Clubhouse Premium. Your app's dying. How is anybody going to pay with premium? It forces you to listen to rooms you don't want to listen to. I'm like, it just blows my mind how instead of just simplifying it, because it was the only app that you didn't have to worry about being camera ready. You didn't have to be on all the time. It could just be sitting there while you're cooking. And then if you had something to jump, cool, you to do that. The UI itself, I still think was one of the best that was out there. But it was just very, very poorly managed by leadership.
Yeah, and I don't know much about that because honestly, I used it for a while like everyone else. And then I don't even have it on my phone. I have it in years. So I don't even know what it's like anymore. But there was that. It absolutely popped off because of the right time with what was going on in the world. I know that was a huge part of it. But yeah, it's interesting how it's still kicking. There's still people like you and others that are that are still using it. But I mean, that speaks to, you still crave that conversation.
Well, here's the crux, right? Like everything we're talking about, it was never about the vanity metrics or I don't recruit, I don't coach. Like it was never about that for me from the standpoint where some people came in and they used it very much for that. For me, the tool was I have a captive audience of team leaders, team members, individual salespeople that are all in the real estate industry that I can audit at any point in time for what does a brokerage actually give you that you value? What do they give you that you don't value? I could ask them whatever question I want and I would get the most raw, authentic answers and like be able to converse about that. And it's like, if you want to use YouTube, you want to use TikTok, Facebook groups, you want to listen to podcasts, it begs the question, like, if you're investing time and energy into something, are you getting an ROI out of it? And if you're not, that's okay. You don't have to be precious about it. Just don't do that thing, right? And I think for you, I can see that tangibly through your journey with the actual podcast, through your journey with YouTube, through your journey in the brokerage community and how you're navigating the world. It really is you trying to provide value, right? And understanding like, what does that look like? And if the way Dustin likes shooting and talking, they're not jiving with it, what can I change to make sure that I'm giving them the information the way they want it to be received versus the amount of people that probably will call you to say, hey, Dustin, I would be a great guest on your podcast, rather than saying like, what value can I bring to you being a guest on your podcast, right? It's a mindset difference I see.
1,000%. So I'm so weird with my podcast. Like I've been doing it for so long now that, and honestly, I kind of got permission, I guess you could say, from Joe Rogan to think this way, but he just brings on people that he finds interesting that he wants to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
That's his podcast. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, well, cool. That's how I felt for a long time. So like when some rando pitches me and they're like, I have the biggest team in Arkansas, and so I should be on your podcast. I'm like, don't know who you are. Like you very well could be a great guest, but like you just proposed to me and I've never met you. Mm-hmm. It's weird. Yeah. So I just like to have people on who I know, who I feel good platforming, so to speak. I can't believe I just used that term.
It's a real thing. I've taken down episodes after the fact because I just like talking to people, and I've said yes early on in my podcasting career to people that I didn't realize had ill intentions, because I just thought everybody kind of thought the way that we did, right? Like, oh no, you totally used my face on something that I never approved because you got a clip of us having a conversation together, right? Versus like seeing how people show up in the community. And I'll have people that have tiny followings and big followings. I don't really care. If you're a good person, you have an interesting way that you interact within the community, and I see you treat others well, very different engagement than you cold emailing just to get on somebody else's podcast, right?
1,000%. Yeah. Everything good that's ever happened in my business, in my career, I would even say in my life, it's all happened because of a relationship. Yeah. It's usually not some script or some fancy ad or some trick or hack or something like that. Everything has happened because of a relationship, and there's no replacement for that.
Going back to the content side, because I do think you're somebody people should be watching if you're listening or you're watching the video podcast. Go give the Massive Agent a follow. Definitely follow him on IG. But you've been popping up on all my platforms. Of all the platforms, which platforms and which styles do you find are actually converting?
I love Instagram. Yeah. I like TikTok is second best. Really don't like Facebook anymore. I don't know. Facebook irritates the crap out of me. The notifications are absurd. It's never stuff that I want. I'm just over Facebook. So like maybe I go on there once or twice a week. That's bad. Mm-hmm. I should go on there multiple times a day, but I don't. Every platform works. You can build a massive, thriving brand and reach a crap load of people and sell a ton of stuff or get a bunch of clients on literally any of the platforms. On Clubhouse, on X, on LinkedIn, I imagine on Blue Sky, on Threads or whatever. It's about finding a platform that you really enjoy. There's so much to it that's just like, if you enjoy it, you'll do whatever it takes long enough to actually have success. But if you don't like it, if it's torture, you're going to quit. You're just not going to stick it out. So all the platforms work. I like Instagram. And I've noticed, I used to do a lot of like talking head videos where like I'd be sitting here, I'd have like a fancy light. I'd put, the whole talking head thing. Those are okay still. Like they look good, but they just don't perform that well because I think they just got overdone. People got sick of it and they felt too polished and scripted and just not authentic. And so the more authentic you could be on camera, the better. So some of my best stuff, I'm holding the camera in my car talking about something.
But going back to content, like I know you deleted your account at one point in time, so it'd be worth having a conversation about that. But did you have any like breakthrough moments where you saw, like that's how I should be posting, and like, when you saw something that performed really well, or was it really just slow consistency over time, tweaking small things?
I mean, it's both. There's absolutely been times where like I figure out a new format and I'm like, well, that works.
Yeah.
Like green screen videos work super well where there's an article or a post or something behind you that you're superimposed on top of, and you're just like talking about the thing behind you. There's a hook built into that format because when it pops into your feed, you're like, I wonder what that person's going to say about that thing. Yeah. And it just buys a little bit of time and attention. And so those usually outperform, and they're really easy to do. You don't need an editor. You don't need a studio or anything like that. You just need something interesting to say. So green screen's really cool. I've learned a lot about stories. So the most recent, dude, I learned this yesterday. So I'll just share it. There's this lady, and I did not figure this out randomly. Her name's Maria Wendt, and she has a killer Facebook and Instagram ads funnel that I found myself in. And she's talking about the story formats that convert. And so I just watched what she was doing, and I noticed that she did her stories in a certain format where it was a still image with a big bold headline and then a giant paragraph that you have to hold it to read, and then reply this word to get a thing. So there's the ManyChat automation. And I just did this yesterday, and within 2 hours, I had over 2,000 story views, which is way more than usual. It's now my most viewed story of all time. And it hasn't even expired yet. Yeah, that right there. That format crushes.
Interesting. So for anybody listening to the audio podcast, go to my YouTube channel and you can come to 39 or I guess 35 minutes in-ish. And I just pulled up her account. So it's literally a still image and it's literally text. I wonder why that is. It's just probably people are pausing. Yeah. Okay.
So she has like this. It was like a $37 mini course about stories. And I'm like, because I'm always trying to learn this stuff, especially when it's somebody that has it figured out and I can just leverage their experience, pay a little bit of money, and just they just tell me their expertise and I can learn it right now this second. So I got her course, and she was breaking it down. Retention in stories is huge. So if you do like a 45-second video where you're talking about the thing, if somebody's only watching 15 seconds of it, that's crushing your retention, right?
It's a signal. Yeah.
So a static image has 100% retention.
Yeah, it's 2 seconds, right?
Yeah, well,
15 seconds, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, sure, you can skip out early before it expires.
But if you pause, like if you actually do, I bet you Instagram, if you're tapping it and holding it, Instagram's like, ooh, that person really likes that piece of content.
1,000%. It's an indicator that that's good content. Otherwise, you wouldn't have pushed to hold it and look at it for longer.
Interesting.
So the static image behind, pull up my Instagram real quick in my story, and you can see what I'm talking about.
Give me 1 second here.
But she just has like a picture of her on her phone, but I'm going to get an attention grabbing photo. So it was me last winter. It was snowing. I grabbed an umbrella. I stood out in the middle of the street, and
stud. There he is.
One before that.
Agents still doing this crap is insane. That's hilarious. Recently helped a few agents build, and you're going to have to tap it, otherwise it's going to disappear.
Yeah. So people hold it to read it, and as long as the copy is done well, like, you have to think through the copy, but as long as it grabs attention, and then at the bottom, I say, reply this keyword and I'll send you the link to the thing that I'm teasing. And so not only does it get a ton of retention because it's a static image and people are holding the screen to read it.
Interesting.
it also gets a shitload of replies. And so the algorithm's like, this is amazing content. Let's show it to more people. And so, like, dude, it's already my most viewed story of all time, and there's still 5 hours left or something.
Wild. I'm gonna just take a screenshot of your face from this podcast and be like, this guy shared the craziest thing, comment podcast, and then send them your podcast. As I'm sharing the story, it's interesting because we all try different things to see like what is a good way to deliver information that I know my audience desperately needs. And it's fascinating that you shared that one little insight. I think anybody listening to this, if they don't take that and put it into action, they're missing the entire point of this whole podcast. Like that little nugget can easily give people traction. Where you say 2,000 views on a story, I know what views should look like on a story. That's a lot from an average view perspective. So.
Yeah, and I had that within like 2 hours. It was nuts. So that is not my idea. I learned this from Maria Wendt, who has this incredible, the way that she's figured out the algorithms is awesome. And so I'm learning how she does it within stories. Those same concepts apply if you're running ads. And to oversimplify what I'm learning from her style of content that I'm now applying. I mean, I've been doing a version of it. I'm just tweaking it to look more like hers because it just works better. So I'm going to do it. It's simplifying what somebody sees so that if you want them to take a certain action, like if you want them to get your home value request, like click your home value request and go to your home bot or something, or get your first time seller guide that you made or whatever. If you want them to do that, you can't bombard them with a big long thing. You've got to make it simple. Here's a result someone got. Here's how they got it. Here's a link to the thing. And if you make it simple, then people know exactly what to do when they see it. There's only one option. It's not, hey, call me or something with a ton of friction. It's reply this trigger word. And then you have ManyChat.
Yeah.
If you don't have ManyChat or you don't want to, you don't have that big of an audience. Cool. Like just say, reply this word and then look in your thing. And, you know, it's crazy how when you make something easy for a consumer to consume, it performs really freaking well. And I'm trying to figure out all the different ways to do that.
Dude, we just dropped an episode today with Paulina Matheson on Prime People. She's in Arizona. I met her through Sirhan when I was at the dinner last year. She sold a $3 million luxury property to a buyer in Calgary through exactly what you just said. So like she posted something once and I actually commented whatever she said to like see her flow because we're friends and I was just kind of getting an idea on how she was doing it. She called me. She's like, hey, I reply myself. I still haven't even set up ManyChat. She's like, I just know everybody says comment like mesquite to get the listing. So she's like, we had a great chat. I'm like, dude, that is awesome. I said, I love that you still do it, even though you haven't waited to set it up perfectly. You're just figuring it out. And she sold a $3 million house with it because she just tried the damn thing. Right. So I think if anything that I took from this episode was try the damn thing, be consistent. Don't be precious about it. Don't be scared to change things to the way that the world is changing around you. Otherwise, if you're just stuck in your ways, you're going to be left in the past. So appreciate you very much for being on the podcast. I know you got to roll. Otherwise, we could keep going for hours. You're one of my favorite guests.
Dude, this flew by. Yeah, this was fun.
I was watching the clock because I know you have another appointment, but like I said, you're the homie. This is probably your fourth time on this show. And any message you want to leave the audience with?
I would say this: like, if I can have some version of success in the world, I guarantee you can too. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the most articulate. I'm not the best looking. You are, but I'm not. There's all these. Like, I've just refused to stop doing stuff. And I'm not afraid to screw something up. I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I'm not afraid to, like, I was just plugging some other creator with some other course. Like, that's not my idea, but I'm totally fine and comfortable in the fact that I don't know everything. And the people who do know some stuff I don't, I want to know what they know. And then I will give them credit for that because that's their stuff. So just, I don't know. I love learning. I love learning new stuff. I love trying new stuff. And I think that that's been a big help in my career. And I think a lot of people could do more of that.
I absolutely agree. I love that you give credit. And like I said, you are definitely prime cosign. You've been the same guy from the first day that I met you, but you've improved so many ways in so many different places. So everybody go check out Dustin Brohm, the massive agent. I'm sure he'll be back on another episode and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, brother.